Hi everybody, Anna K. Morris here with a quick coaching video for you today. And it's something that's come up a lot this week with private clients and it just made me think this is worth sharing to a bigger audience. And it's that people can be, we as humans are a lot of different things. And what I mean by that is you can be really, really wonderful and really, really terrible all at the same time. So the example that I want to give and the story that I want to share is one from my life, of course. And I've shared about my dad in the last video. If you didn't see yesterday's video, go and watch it. You'll know what I'm talking about. But I don't know how much my dad watches my videos or not, and I don't really want to censor myself because I really want to share authentically. So I'm just going to share and hope that either he doesn't watch or that he likes what he watches or he has Alzheimer's and he forgets about it. I have no idea. But my dad is a complicated guy, and he's got many, many positive qualities and some qualities I don't like as much, as we all do. And I think he would say the same thing about me. And so when my parents split up, I was 22, living in New York. 9/11 had just happened. And I assigned the fault to him, as you do, right? I'm human, and I think we're, in times of trauma and despair, it somehow like helps us process it, which is just the strangest thing. It's almost like I needed somebody to blame, and that person was him. So for most of my 20s, I'd also had not great romantic, experiences with, early relationships. So I was quick to make it not just about my dad, but men in general. Let's hope Derek doesn't chime in. He's sitting at the desk next to me, so we'll see if he, this is nothing he doesn't know. So that all being said, for most of my 20s, up until I started doing a group coaching program, which if you've watched my videos, you know that I did the Landmark Forum in March of 2008. And I really had this story that I didn't have a good dad. Sorry, Dad. And I looked to all these other dads of how he should have been these ways, and that I needed him to be different. And I really made him wrong for the kind of parent that he'd been to me. And so every Sunday at 11, he would call, and he's a pilot. So that was what I was used to. We would have family meetings Sunday at 11 in my childhood. And then that continued with a checklist of maybe 5 questions. And he would run down the checklist of the 5 questions. And then that was kind of the call. And I made that mean that he didn't care about me, and that I'm just a box to check, and there's nothing real or authentic. I'm just some airplane checklist for him, right? That was the story that I had, because I had this story about him, that he wasn't a good dad. I'm so sorry, Dad. I hope you're not watching this. We'll talk about it later, I'm sure. So fast forward, I'm in the Landmark Forum that weekend. I go to it for help with my job, which is always interesting now as a coach. When people hire me to work on something in their life, I'm like, well, maybe we'll work on that, but it's probably not even something that that you need to work on is what we're going to go to work on, right? Because it's always in the blind spot. It's not in the what you don't know. It's in the you don't know what you don't know. That's the blind spot. And that's most of our life that we live our lives from. You're like, why do I always have the same job? Why do I always have the same relationship? Why do I always have the same fight with my kids? It's because you're in a loop. Like, we are so in a loop in our story that like we think it's the truth. And that for me with my dad was that like he was on autopilot and like just checking the box with me. So fast forward, I'm in this class and the class was really hard for me. I didn't feel relatable to anybody sharing. It was 200 people in a basement in New York. I mean, everybody from like homeless people to like famous actors. It was everything in between, and investment bankers, and then like people that were like millionaires that looked like they were homeless. And it was just like everything you could ever imagine. And there I am. And this guy goes up to the microphone because it's a group, 200 people. It's like Tony Robbins, but like not sexy. And no pyro, no fire, no walking on fire. And this like big kind of truck driver guy, I remember, from New Jersey, goes and speaks at the microphone. And he talks about how much he wishes he had a close relationship with his daughter. And it's not why I went up to the microphone, but like it quickly got discovered that like that's actually like what the pain was in his life, was that like he really wanted a close relationship with his daughter. But he didn't like open up with her or do the things that would have that happen. And I got in that moment that like my judgment of my dad was keeping us separate, right? Right now, my dad is 86. He was a recovering alcoholic for a long time, and now he's actively drinking again and has Alzheimer's. It would be easy for me to go back into my loop of like, he's not a good dad and da 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 da. Except when I transformed it in 2008, after that weekend, I got that I have an extraordinary dad who cares about me so much. I made it to his checklist. That was every Sunday morning at 11, where he ran down the questions, because the way that he knows how to do life is to systemize it, right? And it doesn't mean that he doesn't have like a deep affection or like willingness to like be vulnerable and honest with me. It just also means that like he wants to make sure that he's doing his check-in and that his daughter is safe. And it all changed when I shifted how I saw him, right? So he didn't change at all. Guys, he's the exact same. In fact, he got sober at 72. He was sober from 72 to maybe 85. I was drinking again. And I'm not actually mad about it. I would like for it to be different, but he's got 60 years of drinking under his belt. And when you get diagnosed with Alzheimer's, I don't know what that's like. I don't know that he knows that he was sober. I don't know. And it's just not my business. It's not my business. My business is to love him, how he is and how he isn't. And I'll tell you, there are relationships in our lives that are tests for us, that are challenges for us, right? And it's not your job to say whether or not somebody is doing well or not well by your standards. Your only job is to love and accept people. And that first starts with you. So the only way that I could actually love and accept my dad was when I started loving and accepting myself. And that's what I do when I come to my journaling pages every single day. So here's your journal prompt. Where am I not loving and accepting myself? Where in my life am I not loving or accepting myself? Said a different way, where am I being hard on myself? Why am I being so hard on myself? Would I ever be this hard on anybody else? And what am I getting out of it that I'm being so hard on myself? So that's a lot of stuff. So you might want to save this last part of the video so that you can listen to it when you're journaling tomorrow, which is actually a good business idea, but I'll sideline that. What are you getting out of being so hard on yourself, right? For me with my dad, like I was being really hard on him, mostly because it was so familiar and I had so much buy-in. I had so much evidence, and I was really hard on myself all the time too. And I had so much buy-in and I had so much evidence of how I had failed different things in my life. And the real answer to like why I was doing that is because it was familiar. Somewhere along the way, we decide that it's supposed to go differently than the way it's actually going. And my job and my work every single day is to accept how it actually is and love myself in spite of, not because of, but in spite of. Okay, I love you. I hope this helps. Dad, I love you so much. If you're watching this, I love you. I'll see you in a month.